Do you think your cat is truly happy with the life you give them? Most owners would say yes. You feed them, you keep them safe, you give them a soft place to sleep, you buy toys, clean their space, and try to show love in all the ways that seem obvious. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. What your cat needs most is not always the thing you're giving, because cats don't experience comfort the way humans do. They don't measure love by how expensive the toy was, how cozy the bed looks, or how many times you try to cuddle them. They experience life through instinct, through scent, through control, through movement, through safety. And when those deeper needs are missing, your cat doesn't complain. They don't sit you down and tell you what feels wrong. They just become a little more restless, a little more distant, a little less like the cat you thought you knew. That's why so many owners miss the things their cats are craving most. Not because they don't care, but because nobody ever told them those needs were there in the first place. In this video, we're going to break down 6 things cats genuinely love, things that tap into their natural instincts, lower their stress, and make them feel far more secure in your home. Some of them are simple. Some of them will completely change the way you see your cat's behavior. And the last one? It might be the most overlooked need of all, because it's missing from almost every home, even the loving ones. So if you've ever looked at your cat and thought, what do you actually want from me? This video is for you. Let's dive in. Number 1. Letting your cat hunt for their food instead of just giving it to them. Have you ever wondered why your cat suddenly sprints across the house, knocks things off the table, or attacks your feet out of nowhere? Most people think their cat is being random, maybe a little crazy, but they're not. They're understimulated. Because in the wild, cats don't just eat, they hunt. In fact, a large portion of their waking life is built around the process of finding food, stalking, chasing, pouncing, missing, trying again. It's not just about the meal, it's about the mission. Now, compare that to what we do. We pour food into a bowl, place it on the floor, and walk away. No challenge, no movement, no purpose. Your cat gets the reward without the experience their brain was designed for. And that creates a gap between what their body expects and what their life actually gives them. That's when the weird behavior starts. The sudden bursts of energy, the ankle attacks, the restless pacing at night. It's not misbehavior. It's unused instinct. But here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of just feeding your cat, let them work for it. Hide small portions of food around the house. Use simple puzzle feeders. Make them search, think, and move even just a little. Because when your cat has something to solve, something to chase, something to earn, you're not just feeding them. You're giving them back a piece of the life their brain has been waiting for. And once that piece is there, everything else starts to calm down. Number 2. Giving them running water instead of a still bowl. Have you ever noticed your cat ignoring their water bowl? But the second you turn on the faucet, they suddenly appear. Most people think it's just a weird habit. It's not. It's instinct. In the wild, still water is risky. It can be contaminated, stagnant, unsafe. Moving water, on the other hand, is fresh, oxygenated, alive. So your cat's brain is wired to trust what flows and question what doesn't. That quiet bowl sitting in the corner, to you, it looks perfectly fine. To your cat, it might feel suspicious. And here's where it becomes a real problem. Cats already have a naturally low thirst drive. They don't feel the urge to drink as strongly as other animals do because, in nature, they get most of their hydration from the prey they eat. So when the water you provide isn't appealing, they don't drink more. They drink less. And it happens so subtly that most owners never notice until something goes wrong. Over time, that low-level dehydration can put stress on their kidneys, affect their urinary system, and slowly impact their overall health. But the fix is surprisingly simple. Make water feel alive. A small water fountain, something that moves, ripples, or makes even a soft sound, can completely change how your cat interacts with hydration. Suddenly, they're not ignoring water anymore. They're drawn to it. They seek it out. And one more thing most people overlook. It has to stay clean. Because even moving water becomes unappealing if it smells or tastes off. Regular cleaning, fresh refills, and placing it in a quiet, accessible spot makes all the difference. Because your cat doesn't avoid water because they're stubborn. They avoid it because their instincts are trying to protect them. And when you work with that instinct instead of against it, you're not just giving them water, you're giving them a reason to drink. Number 3. Keeping their litter box truly clean, not just clean enough. Let me ask you something. When you look at your cat's litter box, how do you decide it's clean? If there's no strong smell, if it doesn't look too messy, if you scooped it earlier today, it probably feels fine to you. But your cat is not experiencing that box the way you are, because your cat's sense of smell is on a completely different level. What seems neutral to you is filled with layers of scent to them, every previous use, every trace left behind, every build-up you've learned to ignore. And here's the part most people don't realize. For a cat, the litter box is not just a bathroom, it's a place where they are completely vulnerable. They can't run easily, they can't defend themselves quickly. Their instincts are telling them to be alert the entire time. So when that space smells overwhelming or feels unclean, it doesn't just feel unpleasant, it feels unsafe. That's when problems start. Your cat may hesitate before going in, they may hold it longer than they should, or they may start choosing other places in your home that feel more comfortable, even if it creates frustration for you. And from your perspective, it looks like behavior. But from theirs, it's a decision based on comfort and security. The fix is not complicated, but it requires consistency. Scoop the box daily, not when it looks bad before it does. Fully change the litter regularly. Wash the box, not just refill it. Remove the buildup you can't see but your cat can absolutely smell. Because when the litter box feels clean to your cat, it doesn't just solve accidents. It restores a sense of safety in one of the most vulnerable moments of their day. And that changes everything. Number 4. Letting your cat live in your scent, not constantly erasing it. Have you ever noticed your cat choosing to sleep on your clothes, your bag, or anything you've recently used? Most people assume it's because those elastia are soft, warm, or just happen to be there. But that's not what your cat is actually looking for. They're looking for you, not physically, but through scent. Because to your cat, smell is not just a detail, it's identity, it's memory, it's safety. Your scent tells them where you've been, what's familiar, and most importantly, what belongs. That's why they seek it out. And here's where most owners accidentally get it wrong. They clean too much. They wash blankets constantly. They spray air fresheners. They remove anything that smells used, because to them, clean equals better. But to your cat, that clean space can feel empty, disconnected, almost like something important is missing. Because every time you remove those familiar scents, your cat has to rebuild their sense of security from scratch. And that creates subtle stress you may never notice. The fix is simple but powerful. Let some of your scent stay. Leave a worn shirt where your cat likes to rest. Don't rush to wash every blanket they use. Allow those familiar smells to exist in their environment. Because when your scent is present, your cat doesn't just feel like they're in a house. They feel like they're with you even when you're not there. And that one shift can turn an ordinary space into a place that feels safe enough to truly relax. Number 5. Lowering yourself to their level instead of always approaching from above. Let's look at this from your cat's perspective for a second. You're big, much bigger than them. You move quickly. You walk upright. You reach down from above. And most of the time when you interact with them, it's from that position standing, leaning, hovering. To you, it feels normal. To your cat, it can feel overwhelming. Because in the animal world, height matters. Something above you can mean control, pressure, even threat. And even if your cat trusts you, that physical difference never fully disappears. It's always there in the background. That's why some cats hesitate when you reach down to pet them. That's why they sometimes back away when you approach too directly. It's not rejection, it's perspective. Now watch what happens when you change one simple thing. Instead of reaching down, you go down. Sit on the floor. Lower your body. Make yourself smaller, slower, less imposing. And then, do nothing. Don't call them. Don't reach for them. Don't try to turn it into an interaction. Just exist in their space, at their level. Because when you remove that height difference, something shifts. Your cat doesn't have to look up at you anymore. They don't have to interpret your movements as something coming from above. The pressure disappears, and suddenly they come closer, not because you asked, but because, for the first time, you feel easy to approach. This is one of the simplest changes you can make, and one of the most powerful, because you're not forcing connection. You're removing the barrier that was quietly blocking it the whole time. Number 6. Giving your cat a vertical world to live in, not just a horizontal one. Look around your home for a moment. Everything is designed for you. The couch, the table, the bed, the layout of every room. It all exists at your height, for your movement, for your comfort. But your cat, they don't experience the world that way. Cats are not ground animals. They are vertical animals. In the wild, height means everything. It means safety, it means visibility, it means control. A cat that can climb higher can see what's coming, avoid danger, and choose when to engage or walk away. Now think about what most indoor homes offer them. Floors, maybe a couch, maybe a bed, but very few true vertical spaces. And when a cat doesn't have access to height, something subtle but important disappears. Control over their environment. That's when you start seeing behaviors that seem random, jumping on counters, climbing shelves, knocking things over. It looks like misbehavior, but it's not. It's your cat trying to create the vertical world they're missing. And when they can't find it, they make it. The shift happens when you give them a place that's actually theirs. A tall cat tree by a window, a clear path to a high shelf, even just a stable surface where they can sit above everything else and observe. Because when your cat has height, they don't need to fight for space anymore. They have a place where nothing can sneak up on them, a place where they can watch without being watched, a place where they finally feel in control. And once that feeling exists, you don't just see less chaos, you see a different cat, calmer, more confident, more present. Not because they changed, but because, for the first time, their world finally makes sense to them. So here's the truth. Most cat owners never realize your cat doesn't need more from you. They need something different. Because everything we've talked about today, letting them hunt, giving them moving water, keeping their space truly clean, surrounding them with familiar scent, lowering yourself to their level, and giving them vertical space, none of it is extra. It's foundational. It's what their brain has been expecting this entire time. And when those needs aren't met, your cat doesn't complain. They adjust. They become more restless, more distant, less engaged. Not because they don't love you, but because something in their world doesn't feel complete. And the hardest part is, from your perspective, everything might look fine. They're eating, they're sleeping, they're not causing too much trouble. But that doesn't mean they're thriving, because a cat that's truly fulfilled looks different. They move with purpose. They engage more. They seek you out not just for food, but for presence. They relax more deeply, because their environment finally makes sense to them. And here's the good news. You don't need to overhaul your entire home. You don't need to spend a fortune. You just need to start seeing your cat for what they are: not a small human with fur, but a creature shaped by instinct, by evolution, by needs that run deeper than comfort. Because when you meet those needs, everything changes. The bad behavior fades. The distance shrinks. The connection grows without you forcing it. So don't ask, how can I give my cat more? Ask, what have they been needing this whole time that I never noticed? Because once you answer that, you're not just taking care of your cat anymore. You're finally giving them a life that feels right. And that's when you stop seeing a cat that simply lives with you and start seeing a cat that truly belongs with you.